Tom King is the head of the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association. He has, of course, been dealing with Mayor Michael Bloomberg and his anti-gun ways for some time. Now he is also looking at gun control legislation expected to be introduced in the state legislature. Governor Cuomo pushing for gun control. Tom, how you doing, sir?
Pretty good, Cam. How about you?
I'm okay. Glad you could be with us on the program tonight.
Oh, thanks. It's good to be here. I was listening to you talk about the bills being dropped in the House. I mean, that sounds like New York.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the political situation in New York is kind of unusual anyway. In that, in the Senate, you have the Republicans don't have a clear majority, but they're caucusing with what, 5 independent Democrats? Is that what they're calling them?
Well, actually, they
Or
do have
they
a
do
clear
have a majority.
majority
They do.
right now by one. Yeah, there was a contested seat that a judge ruled belonged to the Republican. The Democrats are, however, appealing that decision. But we think that it's going to stick and that we will walk away with a one-seat majority of pure Republicans.
Okay, so given that, the Republicans in the Senate introduced what the Democrat and Chronicle in Rochester is calling a set of gun control proposals on Saturday. Are these, Tom, what we think of typically as gun control proposals, things that would limit the availability or the ability of law-abiding gun owners to exercise their Second Amendment rights?
Oh yeah, I can describe them in kind of one word, and that's ludicrous. An assault weapon. There is an assault weapons ban that is so vague that it most likely is intended to take in certain pistols as well as rifles.
And this is coming from the Senate Republicans, or this?
No, this is coming from the Assembly.
The Assembly. Okay. This is on the Assembly side.
Yeah. Now the Republicans have, made a statement just a day or so ago, and they're pushing for where the problem really lies, and that's in enforcement of the laws that are currently on the books, stiffer sentences for felons. Make sure that if you get arrested while committing a crime with a firearm, that you get 5 years tacked onto your sentence. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's what it is. And some mental health issues that they're looking into. And generally what the Republicans are professing is really good improvements to the law that will make people safer.
Interesting. Now, as I mentioned, Governor Cuomo is apparently pushing for a bigger ban on semi-automatic firearms. As you say, the Assembly's got this gun ban language that so far has been very vague. Sheldon Silver, the Speaker, told Gannett's Albany Bureau last month that Democrats and Cuomo are in general agreement, according to the paper there in Rochester, over a stronger quote-unquote assault weapons ban. Cuomo said last month the current ban has, quote, more holes than Swiss cheese. So, Tom, we've talked in this program before. A quote-unquote assault weapon basically translates to gun I want to ban. And this means what Governor Cuomo is ultimately saying is there are more guns that I want to ban that aren't on the list, so we need to go back and we need to expand this and ban more guns.
That's right. That's exactly what it is.
I mean, these aren't holes. This is the law. He doesn't think it goes far enough. He wants to ban more guns, and that's really what this is about.
Oh, absolutely. It's a case of, the current assault weapon ban in New York State, as was the federal ban, was a pistol grip and 2 other characteristics made the gun an assault weapon. Okay, and now what they're saying is the pistol grip and 1 other, makes the gun an assault weapon.
Uh-huh.
So that's gonna include almost everything.
Right, and then do we know grandfathering?
No, they're not going to grandfather anything. What they're going to do is they're going to leave it up to the superintendent of the state police to determine what are assault weapons and what are not assault weapons.
And then what happens if you happen to own one that would be classified as a quote-unquote assault weapon?
They haven't said that. I mean, Governor Cuomo spoke about that, that nasty C word, confiscation.
Right.
And we haven't been hearing much of that sense there was an uproar afterwards. But there's also no explanation of what are they going to do once they declare these guns assault weapons. You know, there's some talk about registration as well. You know, and I mean, yeah, and we all know who led the fight for registration in the early 40s and late 30s. You know, and two of the big names. You know, Stalin and Hitler.
Well, listen, I gotta say, I think the Journal News a fiasco over publishing the names and addresses of pistol owners in a couple of counties. I mean, that should put a stop to any talk of registering long gun owners. In fact, we should be talking about scrapping the pistol registration system, or at least as a first step, getting that out of the hands of the media. I mean, can you imagine, Tom, we have prison guards right now who are being taunted by inmates in New York State. We know where you live because we got your information online, and I may be in here, but I'm not going to be in here all the time. And guess what? I got friends on the outside. This and I've not heard this anybody associated with this paper say a damn thing about that. Lives have been put at risk because of these actions. And so what the idea is, let's expand this and include everybody who owns a rifle or a shotgun.
Well, yeah, that's exactly right. You know, the publisher of the Journal News is this lady from who lives in New York City, and comes up to publish the Journal News, and she said repeatedly that she's proud of what she did.
Well, I would like her to. Okay. If she says she's proud of what she did.
You know, it's a totally different mindset. I mean, you know, I can't fathom it, really. You know, you're putting good people, you're putting police officers, you know, sheriffs, correction officers at risk because you wanted to do something to push an agenda that you have. You know, I mean, what you know, the newspaper columnists of old are rolling over in their graves listening to this kind of crap coming out of these new newspaper people.
Yeah, no, I gotta say, you know, we've talked about this before, Tom. You know, in a May issue state like New York, you know, maybe there's a case to be made for having this information publicly available. But you know, every time there's a case like this, and this isn't the first time that the Journal News has done this, every time a newspaper goes and does something like this, the case for making this information publicly available becomes weaker. And at this point, you know, based on what we've seen here, I got to say, I see no reason why this information should be available under a Freedom of Information Act.
Oh, I agree. I agree with you. And you know, there's a number of bills that have been introduced. Senator Greg Ball introduced one in the Senate, and excuse me, he is you know, his is the most stringent of all about releasing the information, and that's the way it should be. You know, you know, not only does it put the gun owners at risk, and you know, and the sheriffs and the police officers are at risk, but it also tells the criminals who doesn't have a gun where they should go if they want safe entry and being able to burglarize a home. It puts everybody at risk.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. Hey, listen, Tom, unfortunately, we are almost out of time, sir, but I really appreciate you coming on the program, and keep us up to date with everything going on in the legislature, will you?
I will do that, Cam.